Welcome everyone to yet another episode of QPOD by Testhouse, where you'll hear us discussing on interesting tech topics and the perspectives of our experts. I'm Alfie Christina and I'll be your host for this episode. On today's podcast, we have with us Jermy Jose, Director of Delivery Management at Testhouse. We will be discussing on value stream mapping, the current importance it has, its benefits, and so on. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us today.
Thank you, Alfie, for having me.
So, without any delay, let me just begin the session. So, on to my first question. Value stream mapping is becoming more predominant in the industry nowadays. So, can you share your insights on it?
Sure, Alfie. So, with the onset of agile delivery models enabled by DevOps, the need for reducing time to release a product has become a critical factor to make you a leader in the marketplace. In a rush to deliver at pace, we tend to overlook inefficiencies that may be introduced into the process. The concept of value stream mapping is to help analyze the value that is delivered in each step of a process and identify wastage that can be eliminated to make the process more efficient. The original value stream mapping template was created by Toyota Motor Company and implemented via material and process flowcharts. This VSM illustrated the necessary process steps that existed from order entry to the final product delivery and was useful for gaining a wide reaching view of the company's activities. It allowed Toyota to remove non essential activities that created waste while maintaining the manufacturing process. So, in short, Alfie, value stream mapping is defined as a lean tool that employs a flowchart documenting every step in the process. Many lean practitioners see VSM as a fundamental tool to identify waste, reduce process cycle times, and implement process improvement.
So, you talked about its origin in the manufacturing industry. So, how is it applicable in the software industry?
A very good question, Alfie. The concept of eliminating waste, or mudda as they call it in Japanese, can be applied to the software development process as well. While developing software, right from the formation of the requirement to the delivery of the product, there are a number of steps in the process. The VSM exercise can be done either for an end to end process from requirements to go live, or it can focus on a specific set of activities within the end to end flow. This is called a value stream. Example: requirements formation can be the value stream that needs to be analyzed, or let's say test data creation or even test design creation. The efficiency of the current process is evaluated by analyzing the time spent as the item moves from one step to another, as well as the time spent on the step itself. This then provides a view of process inefficiency, wastage, or muda. This holistic view is not always visible when we are embedded in the project and focused on delivery. VSM helps us to identify areas which can be improved through solutions like automation, process improvement, or sometimes even the elimination of an inefficient step.
What does our audience need to implement in the VSM technique? I mean, is it easy?
The prerequisites are not complicated. We need to have a knowledge of the end to end information flow in your software delivery model. You would need to specify the steps in the process that need to be analyzed, or the value stream. You then define a start point and end point, calculate the time spent for each activity, and the time it takes for the activity to start calling out any dependencies. This is called the current state VSM. Once this is plotted, you then analyze the data and identify the waste and recommend solutions for eliminating that waste. Once that is done, you provide a future state VSM, which quantitatively visualizes the benefits of eliminating the waste by implementing the recommended solutions. You then have a measurable outcome and hence a measurable ROI.
So, let me ask you this: what are the benefits we would get from using VSM?
Yeah, so there are multiple benefits we get by using VSM. The key benefit is that, as we mentioned earlier, when you're in a project, you just tend to go with the flow. So, when we have a view of how the entire project is mapped out, how information is passing through, it will be easy to understand which steps are taking more time and can there be something done to optimize that. It will tell us where the handovers are taking more time. So all of these inefficiencies are considered as waste. So it provides you a holistic view of how much time your end-to-end process takes, and also helps you to identify areas which seem to be an overhead. The second advantage of that is that it identifies bottlenecks. So sometimes during your entire delivery process, there might be a kind of a hold or a wait time where you're dependent on another approval, or let's say a manual review, etc. And you notice that when you plot the chart, that is actually consuming a large portion of that step's efficiency. So that is a bottleneck, and how can we resolve that? Can we automate it? Can we speed things up? Those are kind of another advantage of the VSM. The overall outcome of doing a VSM, rather than just identifying what's wrong, you can make your process more efficient. There have been instances where the efficiency has been down to 27% and gone up to 90% through bringing simple practices like reducing overheads by eliminating process steps, automating processes so that the flow is continuous. It also helps to improve cross functional collaboration in the sense that when we get together and create a VSM, it's not a one team job. There are a lot of parties involved in when we do the VSM. There are a lot of stakeholders involved in developing a software product. So there's a lot of collaboration involved and seeing the different handles, etc. So there's a lot of the actual holistic view is actually drawn in the overall process, and that creates a lot of collaboration, a lot of understanding, which helps to improve the process as well. And finally, the overall outcome of a VSM is that when your process becomes more efficient, and there's less wastage, you have more time, you have a better product, more time to focus on the product quality, and you have less wastage. So you build an efficient engine. So these are some of the main benefits of a value stream mapping.
So, with that, we are winding up this episode of QPOD. Thank you, Jeremy, for enlightening us on value stream mapping and sharing your insights. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back with another episode soon.